It's so much information that's been coming out lately, it'll make your head spin. So on the heels of the government shutdown, record history, on the heels of the Democrats actually realizing they needed to reopen the government because they wasted everybody's time with that temper tantrum holding the country hostage. Now we have got an explosion of information coming out about the alleged governors, like a list of them that have Chinese spies working on their staff. One in particular that's been exposed is Governor Kathy Hochul of New York. Now, this is mind-blowing. And in this video, I'm going to let you hear from the spy herself. And then we're going to dig off into it where you can see and hear what other Democrat governors have Chinese spies allegedly working directly for them on their staff. Not some extension, not somebody that's working way off remote. No, working directly with the governors. And this is mind-blowing because you got to wonder to yourself, you say, man, President Trump is trying to generate revenue for the country using tariffs. The Democrats are going crazy. And who is our biggest competitor across the board? China. So you know what's happening? Allegedly, and you got to throw that allegedly in there because people are trying to, use certain things you say if you're not careful. Allegedly, China creates these propaganda campaigns and they disseminate it to their people, their U.S. assets that they have in positions of government and social media people. They prop up these little social media folks that take it to TikTok, that take it to Instagram, that take it to Facebook, and they create the reels, the YouTube shorts. And all they're doing is spewing negativity about Trump and tariffs and Trump and this. And they're doing that because if they can get the American people to push back against it on the president, it makes it easier for them. China tariffs the crap out of us when we pull our stuff over there, but yet they pay no tariffs here. What country would be cool with that? They all are saying, whoa, I like it better where y'all pay us and I pay y'all nothing. And that was all of these countries. So the uproar that they're trying to make it like, oh, the tariffs must be bad. No, think about it. If you've been living in a home for 15, 20 years and you've never had to pay a mortgage or pay a rent, and then the next door neighbor says, hey, that's not fair. I think you should have to pay some rent. You're going to fight that tooth and nail, even though everybody else is having to pay. If you don't feel like you should have to, you're not going to want to, and you're going to fight to resist. That's all this tariff thing is, but they're using propaganda. So let's get off into this, and please check these clips out because you're going to get a chance to hear from a real Chinese spy, and wait till you hear what she's spewing. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article, then we're getting into this thing. We get this out of here. So we got a former top aide to New York's Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul is accused of secretly spying for the Chinese Communist Party while collecting millions in kickbacks and enjoying a lavish lifestyle, federal prosecutors say. Linda's son, 41, who also served under former Governor Andrew Cuomo, allegedly used her high-ranking state positions to advance Beijing's interests and influence both governors to act favorably toward China, according to the Daily Mail. So you had Cuomo and Hochul. Prosecutors allege that despite earning an official government salary of $145,000, Sun and her husband, Chris Hu, 42, funneled millions they earned from spying for the Chinese Communist Party. According to the Wall Street Journal, the couple used the illicit funds to purchase a $3.6 million mansion on Long Island, a $1.9 million condominium in Hawaii, and a 2024 Ferrari Roma worth $243,000. During opening arguments Monday, prosecutors claimed Sun regularly communicated with CCP insiders and attended exclusive dinners hosted by Chinese consulate chefs, including events featuring traditional Nanjing-style salted duck. She also reportedly traveled frequently to China and attended Beijing's celebration marking the CCP's 70th anniversary in power. Prosecutors say Sun laundered millions through Hu's businesses, including a lobster export firm and a Queens wine shop. The couple is also accused of pocketing $2.3 million in kickbacks for pandemic-era personal protective equipment, PPE, imports. Sun faces charges of violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act, as well as visa fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering. Now, this right here is Linda's son. And let's listen to what Linda's son has to say. Now, remember now, she has a $3.6 million mansion, $1.9 million condominium in Hawaii, 2024 Ferrari Roma. But listen to this BS she's spewing, because this is exactly what all these other radical Democrat left-wing sleaze bags do. They get up there and talk about how, oh, we're going to go after the rich, we're going to attack that, while the whole time they are the individuals that they claim to be against. Let me let you hear from her. Check this out.
I think, when people say diversity and inclusion, I think everybody agrees, or most people generally agree that it's a good thing, right? But I think right now we also need to bring in the word equity, right? Diversity is when you say that there's, many different types of people with different backgrounds, and they're all, invited to the table. Inclusion is when, we include all of their ideas. But equity is when we make sure that all of the people who are at the table have equal access to making sure that their ideas and their thoughts are heard. And unfortunately, I think some of the statistics that you quoted is that we don't have that much leadership or representation. I think, when people say...
So, as you heard, her topic of choice was diversity, equity, and inclusion. You got to have the diversity, you got to include, and then equity. But here's the kicker on that. She didn't share any of that equity that she got. She didn't pay taxes on it. She didn't give any to the poor. She didn't do anything. Matter of fact, take a look at what she did with her money. This is the mansion, the $3.6 million mansion. Matter of fact, let me make it bigger for you. I make it bigger. Oh, that didn't work out well. Okay, so as you see right here, you got the mansion. That's the 2024 Ferrari Roma. Okay, so while she's sitting up there trying to preach to us about, diversity, equity, and inclusion, she's living high off the hog. Now, check out this other clip where Linda's son is going to express who it is and that helped her get in the game and how she got her start. And then we're going to dig into that because it's going to heat up as we go through these clips. Just check this out. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up because I'll never ask you for a cash out, a donation, or a super chat. You hitting that like button is more than enough. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're subscribing now or already subscribed, just make sure that you hit the notifications and you select all. YouTube has issues with notifications, but when you hit the bell and select all, they'll make sure that you get notified the next time I upload new videos.
Happened before. And for myself, as well as Sandra, we both consider Congresswoman Grace Meng to be an amazing, friend as well as mentor, because I got my start in, sort of government and politics because of her. I joined her campaign, back in 2008, and was able to sort of happened before.
So the woman that she said, in case you didn't hear, the name was Grace Meng. Okay. Matter of fact, this is Grace Meng right here. Grace Meng serves the 6th district of New York. This is her right here, standing with Nancy Pelosi. So this is the woman who helped her get in the game. Another alleged Chinese affiliated spy. So all of these people are connected and linked together. As a matter of fact, it goes deeper than that. During the election and since the election, the new New Jersey governor-elect has been, Mikey Sherrill, has been linked with a $65,000 donation that she took in from a CCP businessman. Now, this is why this is important. Why these Democrats are running around, and these people are in positions of power. They're dictating policies. They're making laws, and it's not on the behalf of the American people. Wait till you hear what they say Tim Walz did, because like I told you, it's heating up. So we got the New Jersey governor getting donations from CCP. We've got New York congressional members, Gracie Meng, working for the CCP. We got Lindy's son working directly under governors who's working for the CCP, and they're paying these people millions of dollars, allegedly, to even do it. Now, let's look at this. Listen to this woman, a Chinese woman, as she's going to break down what the CCP has really been doing. She's whistleblowing. Check this out.
Passport holders in this country doing business, according to their national intelligence law, anybody who holds a Chinese passport is supposed to actively assist Chinese government to collect data, to do espionage, whatever they task they want them to perform overseas. Otherwise, their assets in China can be at risk. Their family can be threatened. They even threatened me, American citizen here. After 30 years, I'm an only American citizen. I'm a no longer Chinese citizen, but they still think they owe me. So what else they cannot do to other Chinese businessmen here? So some people think it's just private business. I don't think so. I think it's their long-term game plan. It's called a soft power invasion. So I wrote open letter to Mayor Flashwa and the borderman. You can read that later. It's in my package. So I'm going to open up to all the questions you might have. I think that's the most important part. And
so as you heard her, if you are a Chinese national, if you're a Chinese citizen, or if you're a Chinese descent and you come over to the U.S., if you hold a Chinese passport, you are required by law to give all that information that you collect to the Chinese government, y'all. This isn't a game. When Trump's been saying that, and the Democrats are like, oh, no. And Trump's like, look, we got to block this. We got to keep China. And the Democrats keep pushing and pushing. They even go on outlets like MSDNC and CNN and praise China. Remember during the tariff talks, anytime China will push back, they would be cheering Xi on, saying, yeah, China's not going for the stuff that Trump is doing. And you sitting there watching like, are you rooting for China or against America? Because they're two and the same, but I want to know, are you rooting for China or against America? Because how can you be an American citizen getting excited and giving props to a foreign dictator, allegedly, who does not want to pay their fair share to do business with the biggest customer in the world? But yet it's okay for them to block our stuff off. Yet it's okay for them to tariff our products so high that we're incapable of being able to effectively sell in the Chinese market, from our beef to our goods and services. But you turn over a cup or a bowl and a plate in your house, and you tell me how many of them say made in China. On the heels of all this spy talk, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video chapter, Seniors. Right now is open enrollment period. And if you're wondering, hey, what's going to be the best plan for me? How am I going to be able to save as much money as I can and maximize the resources that I need? Look no further than Chapter. Chapter is highly skilled and unbiased agents, and a free telephone call that can last less than 20 minutes can help you make sure that you've got the best Medicare plan available, because it would suck to be paying into a plan and your prescriptions aren't covered and you find out at the last minute that your doctor is no longer in network. Why take the risk? It's not worth it. You're far more worth it to make that phone call to that number on the screen or visit that website and just make sure that you have got the best Medicare plan available. Give Chapter a call and let them help you. Give Chapter a call and let them help you make the best decisions for your Medicare plan. And this woman spoke it straight from the mouth. And just so you know who she was, so you don't think she was just some crackpot, that was Lily Tang Williams that just spoke. She's an American activist businesswoman, a perennial candidate who chaired the Colorado Libertarian Party. She's a Republican. Okay? So she's here and she's telling you, hey, they have to give it all up. As a matter of fact, here's proof right here. China's data collection on U.S. citizens, implications, risks, and solutions. This has been going on. And I'm just going to read the very first sentence. I'll read the very first sentence. It says, the People's Liberation Army of China has been linked to several major data breaches targeting the personal data of American citizens, including the hacks on the Office of Personnel Management, Marriott Starwood, United Airlines, and Anthem Health Insurance, amongst others. So, and go to this one. The data breaches also included the loss of roughly 18 million copies of certain forms, which include personal data, including individuals' past substance abuse, gambling habits, history of psychiatric care. This is insane. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Listen to the former FBI director, Christopher Wray, as he lays out what's been going on here.
And I will note that the pandemic has unfortunately not stopped any of this. In fact, we've heard from federal, state, and even local officials that Chinese diplomats are aggressively urging support for China's handling of the COVID-19 crisis. Yes, this is happening at both the federal and state levels. Not that long ago, we had a state senator who was recently even asked to introduce a resolution supporting China's response to the pandemic.
Wow. So you got them blatantly and brazenly approaching American politicians, wanting them to campaign on their behalf. Listen to the former CIA director, Mike Pompeo. Check this out.
Last year, a Chinese government-backed think tank in Beijing produced a report that assessed all 50 of America's governors on their attitudes towards China. They labeled each of you friendly, hardline, or ambiguous. I'll let you decide where you think you belong. Someone in China already has. Many of you, indeed, in that report are referenced by name. So here's the lesson. The lesson is that competition with China is not just a federal issue. It's why I wanted to be here today, Governor Hogan.
That was Janet Mills. Did you see Janet Mills right there? And you know what's funny about them showing Janet Mills right here? She definitely, her name has come up and tied to the CCP big time. Now, check out James Comer, the head of the House Oversight Committee in Congress, and what they discovered in their investigations into China, into Biden, and what's going on right now. This stuff should alarm everybody watching this, because this is real. These folks are working hard to try to take over our country, but we got enemies from within that are helping them along all over the almighty dollar.
We also know that he's had a lot of a long-term fascination, maybe even an obsession with China, going all the way over there when he was a social studies teacher. And it was very, very unusual, more than 30 trips. And I understand, I mean, look, media reports, conservative media, we've been pointing out that this is a really oddball thing, but you have something You got a whistleblower on your hands, sir.
Yeah, the Oversight Committee for months has led a bipartisan investigation into the way that China is trying to infiltrate and influence our government agencies. We know that the Biden-Harris administration doesn't have a plan to combat this. They don't even have a plan to identify it. But during the course of this investigation, we received a briefing from the FBI, and they told us that they look for politically engaged people or politically engaged families that make multiple trips to China, that speak favorably about China, and they evaluate this, any type of communication with China. This is exactly what Tim Walz does. So by the FBI briefing that they gave the House Oversight Committee in a bipartisan fashion, Tim Walz should be at the top of the list. So what we've requested is information from the FBI. We didn't receive anything, but then a whistleblower came forward, provided some information. Now we've taken steps to formally issue subpoenas to get this information so we can further evaluate it and give the truth to the American people about what exactly Tim Walz's fascination is with the Chinese Communist Party and what level of communication he has with them.
And what is their fascination with him, perhaps? Can you say?
Tim Walz have been to China 30 times, 30. And now they've got links and they've got ties with him. And this was, with him mixing in with the Chinese. And then look at what's going on in Minnesota. You got fraud all over the place. It's the most liberal left-wing state in the union, next to Oregon, probably. And it's funny how all of these blue states, all of these deep blue states and sanctuary cities somehow just so happen to be connected with the CCP. Did you hear about the private police stations? The FBI under the Biden administration found police stations in America, Chinese police stations, not little apartments, Chinese police stations, fully staffed. And what they were doing was any Chinese person that spoke out against China, their secret police force was going out, snatching these folks up, busting them up. It was crazy. And the lamestream media never touched it. It was the most insane thing in the world. Now, check out MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, as she's speaking with Andrew Cuomo, because as we heard earlier, we know that he had Chinese staffs, alleged Chinese spies on his staff. Check out his response to her.
Are you either the dumbest tool of the Chinese government, or did you know for a fact that you were being used by the Chinese spy that was working for you?
I've read a lot about you too, Congresswoman. I think this is a very serious matter.
It is serious, that's right.
She was a junior member in my team. I wouldn't recognize her if she was in this room today. But I think it is a serious matter. I don't think this was just in New York. I think there is an infiltration of Chinese, maybe Russian operatives.
The Democrat Party's definitely had a problem with Chinese spies. Yes, you're right. And I want to remind you, you're under oath.
Yeah. And I think it's a serious issue, and I think the federal government and the state government should work together on it. The state government doesn't really have the ability to do the international reconnaissance, but the federal government does, and I think they should work together to make sure they're doing the best they can to do the vetting.
Did you notice he just spoke in circles and said a whole lot of nothing? She asked him specifically about the fact that he had a Chinese spy on his staff. And he said he takes it very seriously and how the investigations in the future should do great on looking back at things in the past. And hopefully by looking back at things in the past, we'll be able to see a clear future and somehow be able to have a better day. That was a whole bunch of gibberish word salad, Kamala Harris's best recipe I've ever heard in my life. But this is what's going on with these demon rats. These people are not only selling out the American citizens by shutting the country down, they're also siding and getting in bed with the Chinese Communist Party, which is nuts. All the while publicly promoting and supporting a socialist in New York. These folks are coming out. You remember that song, I'm Coming Out? They might as well play that at the DNC rallies and let them all come out just shaking it, because they're all coming out, letting it be known. They despise America. They love communists and socialism. They love communist countries. They love socialist ideology. They don't give a crap about the American public. And those millionaires, remember, it's not millionaires anymore. It's billionaires. And the reason why it's billionaires, because if you remember, it used to be, we're going to stick it to the millionaires and the billionaires.
In our great country, millionaires and billionaires should not be able to buy elections.
Now, how did I get the money? You're right. I wrote 2 best-selling books, including this book on capitalism. It was New York Times bestseller for a while. And also another book was a youth book. And I make, I don't know, 175,000 a year. And that's more or less how I became the zillionaire that I am.
They removed one word out because they all became millionaires. So they said, oh, we can't say millionaires and billionaires anymore. Bernie took it out. Go back and look at Bernie's speeches 2016, 2018, 2010. He was saying millionaires and billionaires. Go back and look at Elizabeth Warren. Millionaires and billionaires. But you know what happened? They got that tap on the shoulder from the CCP that said, look, if you're willing to sell your soul, I'm willing to give you some money for it. And they said, can I telepathically just send you the contract, or do I have to? They was ready to go. They don't believe in the Most High God anyway, allegedly. So what are they? If they'll sell their soul, what do you think they'll do to the country or to you and I? That's why we got to do everything we can to beat these demon rats back and keep them out of office. I got one more clip. I wasn't even going to show this, but I am now. And this is about Gretchen Whitmer up in Michigan. Yes, the governor who faked her own kidnapping, that the FBI found out that the FBI actually helped her set up her own kidnapping to use it as a way to get reelected. Innocent people were hurt because of this crap. Luckily, all the men involved was acquitted. And you might not have ever even heard of that story. But I did a video on it. And it's on my it's in my playlist. You should check that out if you get a chance. But check this out. What's going on in Michigan with Gretchen Whitmer and the Chinese.
China is buying up land across the country, including ag land. But some states...
Now, this is from 2023, just so you know, because if you see Tucker there and he's on Fox, this is from 2023. So when you hear what happened, just imagine how deep ingrained they are now.
So perverse it's hard to believe it's real, are helping the Chinese government replace American manufacturing as well. The governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, just gave more than $700 million in taxpayer money to fund a massive Chinese battery in Big Rapids, Michigan. Residents there are protesting this. Tudor Dixon ran for governor of Michigan. She's host of the Tudor Dixon podcast, and we're honored to have her join us tonight. Tudor Dixon, thank you so much for coming on. This is one of the stories. It's hard to believe it's real. How could Gretchen Whitmer have gotten away with this?
Well, how did she get away with this? But how is it not a bigger story what we've recently found out? Because we gave the state of Michigan, lawmakers and Gretchen Whitmer have decided to give this company $715 million in taxpayer dollars. But in the company bylaws that are on the company website, it clearly states that when they get to Michigan, they have to have a CCP organization on site, a Chinese Communist Party organization on site, a propaganda arm of the CCP right in the center of the country in Michigan, 1 square mile of CCP in the center of Michigan, and that has to influence the grassroots of the corporation. So think about that. They have to have the CCP there. This is in the bylaws. Clearly, the lawmakers and Gretchen Whitmer read these bylaws. You would have to know what the company's operations are going to be. This is nowhere near any of our car manufacturers, any of our automobile manufacturers. So what exactly are they doing in this rural area in Michigan? But to top it off, we now know that about 250 to 300 will be housed at the local university there. Chinese nationals. These are not going to be American jobs. They're bringing Chinese nationals in to take these jobs, and they will be housed at the local university, where the local university has just so happened to be telling people, this is such a good idea. You have to have this corporation here. So how much money are the Chinese going to give the local university?
Wow. So as you see, it's happening. These demon rats are selling out America left and right. $715 million of taxpayer money went to the CCP to put a plant in Michigan. And guess what's going to happen with all the data from every single Chinese person that's working in there? Because please don't believe they're just opening that up and they don't fill their people. They don't put their own people up in there. Of course they do. And remember, under the CCP, under the Chinese law, and the law of China, they have to give all of the information and any data they collect. It's a law in China to be a spy. That's crazy. But I wanted to bring you this story to let you know what was going on, or what is going on with these demon rats and their affiliations and obsessions with Chinese spies. Remember, with Fang Fang, she was with Swalwell, the California congressman that was Swalwell. He was sleeping with Fang Fang. So these, and that's a real thing. Her name was Fang Fang, and Congressman Swalwell out of California got busted having an affair with the Chinese spy. He's a compromised individual that the Biden FBI and DOJ helped cover it up, like they did for most of these people. Because Tim Walz, they got much more dirt on Tampa on Tim. But I'm gonna keep digging into this and bringing it back to you. I just wanted to share with you what's been going on. Governor Kathy Hochul has been exposed with a Chinese spy working on her staff, and the same spy worked for Cuomo. It was a 2-for-1. And then you heard all of the other ones. So we have to stay vigilant. We have to stay strong. We have to stay patriotic. And we have to stay firm. And most importantly, united. Because like this, we can slap somebody and it'll hurt. But we ball it up together and make a fist, we can knock somebody straight out for the count. So it's important for us to stay together, locked in, tight as fists. So if you stayed and you watched this video up to this point, I thank you from the top and bottom of my heart so much. I really do appreciate the support. It's a number of y'all that leave comments on comments. And I'm going to do something special, a special video really acknowledging a lot of the people that have been loyal to the channel since we've been putting this content out here like this. So thank you. And hit that like button if you haven't already. If you aren't subscribed already, subscribe. And most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.